Welcome to episode 8.14 of the Grumpy Brothers podcast. I am Chris Ludvigsen, joined by Ted. Say hey, Ted.
Hey, Ted.
Thank you to our listeners. Please subscribe and listen on Apple Podcast, Spotify, or Odyssey. Also, please follow us here on millions.co. Today, Ted, we have a mixed bag.
Yes, we do.
We're going to do some NFL with a big signing this week. The Final Four, which begins tomorrow. And our first golf discussion of the week, a little bit of Tiger, and then next week the Masters begin. So before we get to all that, Ted, what's making you grumpy today?
Well, since you brought him up, there was something I saw on one of my special feeds from Seaford, Delaware. There's a guy. It's not funny. It is, but it's not. He's been arrested 5th time DUI. On his lawnmower. It's not even a riding lawnmower in the sense that you think it's a riding lawnmower. It's one of those stand-up deals. Okay. So he's riding a stand-up deal down the main drag in Seaford, Delaware. No doubt to go to the liquor store. Now, I'm going to tell you what, if I'm his lawyer, and by the looks of the mugshot, he either has somebody on retainer or he's getting, the county appointed.
He might be getting a discounted rate.
Yeah. I think he's getting the county appointed.
Get the 13th one for free.
Yeah.
Baker's dozen.
Yeah, there you go. But if I'm this guy's lawyer, I'm going to be following Tiger's case closely, because if he walks away scot-free, hey, this guy's driving a Land Rover down the road. My guy's on a lawnmower. If anybody hits my guy, yeah, their car's going to get damaged, but probably not them. But he's going to be wiped out. Yeah. So,
well, Ted, is he riding the lawnmower because he's had his car confiscated?
Well, that's it. The story was unclear as to whether this is his 5th DUI in life or is it 5th DUI on the lawnmower. We're not sure, because it could be. You're right. It could be one of those deals where he has to, those things that you have to blow into before you start your car. So maybe he has that. And clearly it needs to go onto the lawnmower as well. Let me cut my grass. Okay.
Well, Ted, when you get the urge, you gotta get where you're going.
It's not funny, but it is. I mean, it's so dumb. That's the thing, is it's just so dumb. And what if he doesn't have a lawn? He may not have a lawn. He may be living in an apartment, and this is in his storage unit, and this is how he gets around now.
Maybe it's not even his lawnmower. Maybe he
he
borrowed it.
Okay, that would even be better. That would be better. DUI on a stolen lawnmower.
Can you see the police chase?
Yeah,
creeping down the road at 5 miles an hour.
Yeah,
the policeman walking by him.
The car on idle, drifting down there. Oh God. Oh well. That's just nothing. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I guess Seaford, Delaware doesn't have a lot going on. I don't know.
I now want to know where Seaford, Delaware is and make a trip just to see the lawnmower.
Oh, I seriously doubt you want to do either of those things.
I don't know. Hey Ted, maybe he's next door neighbors to Joe.
Probably not. Probably not.
Did
I
he look a little bit like the ex-president? Like maybe Joe just got on not thinking, not realizing that it wasn't a car.
Joe, somebody gave Joe a what were those things called? Where you stand on and you ride them around.
A Segway.
Yeah, a Segway. Maybe Joe thought it was a Segway, and would have had to have his helmet on though. Oh my God! It didn't say whether this guy was wearing a helmet. Again, by looking at him, it didn't look like helmet was his first thought.
First priority. Oh gosh, Ted, you and your police blotter stories.
Yeah, right. Yeah, they're really. you know, it, there's a website called, this guy should live in Florida because there's a site called Florida Man that apparently every day posts a story about a guy in Florida who did this,
This.
or that, and it's like, yeah, only in Florida. So it sounds like he needs to relocate.
Oh gosh, I love that. All right, Ted. So this past week, I had to go over to the local CVS. I had a
No.
prescription refill and I had to discuss it with the pharmacist before I could get it refilled. Changed pharmacies and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
Anyway, so I go to the counter. Young woman who's the pharmacist comes up to help me, and she's lovely and very helpful and does exactly what I need her to do. So we're all good there. Now, as we're wrapping up the discussion, she says to me, "How will you be paying for this?" And before I could fish out my insurance card out of my wallet, she says
Yeah.
to me, unprompted, will you be using Medicare?
Nice. Not yet.
And I thought to myself, over the years, now it's been a while since this happened, so maybe I should not even comment on this anymore. But in the past, when people sometimes have asked me how old I am and I tell them, they say, "Oh, well, you look very good for your age," or something like that. Or,
Yeah,
I would have
right.
thought, and they give me a
Right.
compliment or it's seemingly a compliment. So now when people say I don't look my age, maybe it's the exact opposite. I'm
75. Well, you're looking great for 82. I never would have thought.
So, yeah, I walked away a little nonplussed. Let's just put it
Yeah,
that way.
right. Yeah. I mean, my wife, I'm on Medicare now.
Yes. Well,
Because
you're officially
I had to
retired.
be. No, but I had to go because the way my wife's healthcare plan worked was once you turn 65, you have to go on Medicare, and then they become they become the supplement.
Okay, I got it.
So that's how they do it, and that's fine. But they put you on the prescription plan is something called Silver Script,
Okay,
which doesn't sound, it's like
I get it.
yeah, it's cute.
Not crazy about that one either.
No. But it's funny.
Well,
the other
fortunately
day,
for us, it doesn't apply. Neither of us have any
right.
silver on our head.
Yeah, well, yeah, there's not anything to, if our head turns silver, there's bigger issues, right?
That's right.
But my wife looked. There was a prescription that they called and said it's ready to be picked up, and I'm like, I didn't even call for anything. And she looked, and it's for me. And she looked at it and she goes, "Why is it $30?"
Mm.
And I was like, I don't know. But because in the past it would have been when I was fully on her plan before I went on Medicare, it was $10.
Oh, interesting.
But now it's 30 because I'm on Medicare. So she goes, "Wait a minute, you're retired on Medicare and the price of your prescription went up." Yeah, that doesn't seem right at all. But there we go. Now we know why people can't afford their prescriptions in part.
True.
Anyway,
that's true. That's right. All right, here we go, Ted. You ready?
Yep.
Hold on. Here we go. Okay. We're going to begin today with the Seahawks signing wide receiver Jaxon Smith-Ngiiba to a big contract. So here's a Seahawks receivers question.
Uh-oh.
JSN is now number 11 on the all-time Seahawks receiving yards list. Number one, I think, should be easy. So I'm going to ask you who's number one and number two on the all-time Seahawks receiving list.
Well, Steve Largent has to be one of them, doesn't he?
Yes, number one, Ted. Okay. Now who's number two?
Oh, the only Seahawk I can remember as a receiver is Metcalf, and I'm sure it's not him because he didn't catch enough
Ted,
balls.
This is why this is such a fascinating question. So yes, Ted, Steve Largent.
Was it one of the tight ends?
No.
Okay.
No. This is interesting, Ted. Hall of Famer, number 20 on the all-time receiving yards list, Steve Largent. Played 14 seasons, just over 13,000 yards. Ted, I forgot to look at it, or I looked at it and I can't remember. He was a 4th-round pick by somebody else, and I can't remember if he went to the Seahawks in the expansion draft. I don't remember how he got to the Seahawks.
I would guess it was the expansion draft.
Yeah.
That would be my guess. Yeah.
You want to remember who he played, where he played collegiately?
Oh, I have no idea where he played collegiately.
Tulsa.
Oh, okay. Oh,
now, here's the fascinating one, Ted. Number 2. This guy is someone who has been a very good number 2 receiver, Tyler Lockett.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Now, he played 10 seasons, 8,594 yards. Number 3, Brian Blades. Number 4, Doug Baldwin. Number 5, Daryl Jackson, and number 6 is DK Metcalf.
Okay. I'm surprised Metcalf is that high, really, because he didn't catch that many balls. Yeah.
But like I said, I mean, you look at these guys that, from after Largent, Lockett, Blades, and Baldwin were all good, solid but unspectacular wide receivers.
Right.
They really have had, Metcalf was supposed to be the next superstar. I think the Steelers are overpaying for him, but that's a discussion for another day. So, yeah, interesting there.
Yeah, well, the one thing though is when what was the guy who was the coach? Well, first wasn't Chuck Knox one of their first coaches?
Yes. And
then the guy that was in Green Bay before McCarthy, the heavy-set guy, he came from San Francisco.
Oh, Mike Holmgren.
Yeah, Holmgren. Okay. Yeah, run heavy, right?
Yeah.
I mean, and Holmgren had the West Coast offense, so it was a lot of dink and dunk. So they didn't really go down. And he had they had the big running back,
Sean Alexander. Sean Alexander.
Yeah, I'm gonna hand the ball to him a lot. Yeah, I like that plan. Yeah.
All right, Ted. Now, in the off season, the Seahawks have made some what I would consider tough decisions after their Super Bowl win, allowing 2 very good players in the Super Bowl MVP, Kenneth Walker, the running back, and a very good safety, Kobe Bryant, both leave via free agency. I think those decisions now come into focus because they were clearly saying, we're going to prioritize Smith-Ngiiba.
Yeah. I mean, I guess they believe. Now, they have the other running back that didn't play in the Super Bowl.
Charbonneau. And I think Walker was either a 2nd or a 3rd round pick. And the one thing about the draft this year, again, I've been listening to a lot of McShay, and after Jeremiah Love, the very good running back out of Notre Dame, who, by the way, McShay has Love as his top rated overall player in the draft coming out this year. People just are going gaga over over Love. But after him, there are some solid running backs, but I don't know if there's anybody who's going to be as good as Kenneth Walker was. So it'll be interesting to see what they do in terms of replacing that. But let me give you the numbers on Smith-Ngiiba's contract. 4-year contract extension, because he still has some time left on the rookie deal. It's a $168.5 million deal with an average annual value of $42.15 million, making him the highest paid wide receiver, passing Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson. Contract includes over $120 million in guaranteed money. But because this is an extension and he still has 2 years left, they now have him under control for 6 years at $195 million. It's a lot, but it's manageable because of the way they did it.
Yeah, right. And that's the thing. The next 2 years are, the rookie contract, right? So
I don't know exactly how. Well, some of that signing bonus, I think, has to get spread out into the next couple of years, also in terms of the salary cap.
That's true. Yeah, that's true. But yeah, it's not as big a hit, I don't think, as it sounds, particularly when you have a quarterback who took less.
Right.
And so is it? I think it's too much for a wide. You know me. I think it's too much for a wide receiver, but when you put it in context with the rest of the salaries they're paying, okay. You're saying he's your best player, right?
Yeah, and I don't think Smith-Ngiiba. I like Smith-Ngiiba a lot, and I'm going to go through some of his numbers here in a moment. He's not as good as Jamar Chase. I don't think he's as good as Justin Jefferson, but this is just a classic example of every contract gets a little bigger.
Right.
Now,
and they just won the Super Bowl.
But here's my comment about this. Yes, it seems like a lot. But is this simply an indication of why the Seahawks have become such a good team? Because their front office makes smart decisions. Signing a guy early so you can spread that over. And also, Ted, you now have him, he's 24 now. So
Right.
those 6 seasons, he's 24 through 20, 29 or 30 or whatever. You're getting his prime
Right.
seasons.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
And as the value of wide receiver pay is going to go up,
Right.
if they'd waited 2 years from now, as Jerry did with CD Lamb, you pay at the top of the market.
Right.
So I think this is just a classic example of a well-run team using its money to its best advantage. Now, Ted, here's one of the reasons I like this deal. Okay, so far he's played 3 seasons. First of all, he's played in all 51 games.
Gotta like that.
Yep. His rookie season, he was good, not great, solid. In the next 2 seasons, he's totaled 219 catches, over 2,800 yards, and 16 touchdowns. And this past season, after they traded Metcalf and let go Lockett, and they clearly made JSN the number 1 receiver.
Right.
So all the attention is going to him, right? Here's his numbers this season as the number 1 guy. 119 catches, 1,793 yards, and 10 touchdowns. That's elite.
Yeah. 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 I mean, there's no reason not to pay him.
Yeah.
And you're doing the right thing. You're paying it up. You're paying it early. You're taking the signing bonus, which is how much was the signing bonus?
I didn't write down how much the signing bonus was. I know it's 120 guaranteed, but I got to think a big chunk of it was signing bonus.
If the signing bonus was
if
at
I
least
can look
60,
it up really quickly here. Keep going.
I think it's at least 60, right?
Let's see if I can find it. Keep going.
But if the signing bonus is a big chunk, and I'm sure it is, of the 120 and then the 168, and you're able to spread that out, the hit on your cap is a lot. That's why they hire cap guys, guys to run the cap. The other thing about those contracts for almost anybody in the NFL is that they are a little bit they're flexible.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I mean, they might get down to the last 2 years and say, hey, listen,
Yep.
We want
to extend you for another 2 or 3 years. Yeah. So Ted, here are the numbers.
Spread it out.
Right. Here are the numbers. In only a $35 million signing bonus. So I thought that would have been more, but he gets a $30 million guaranteed option bonus next season. But Ted, this coming season, his cap hit is just over 10. Next season, it's just over 15. Then it jumps up to 32 and 36, and the last 2 years are 48 and 50. But by those last 2 years, like I say, they just extend him another 2 years, push it out a little bit, and they make that cap hit.
Well, the other part of that, and the other part is, what if Darnold signed for 3 or 4 years?
3 years. So he's got 2 years left. Yeah.
Okay. So what if Darnold leaves, retires, or can't play, or whatever? And now you're bringing in a new quarterback, maybe a rookie, and you're kind of on a rebuild, and you go, well, we can trade him. We can trade our receiver to somebody who needs a receiver, who might have a young quarterback and they're in contention, or conversely, you get the young quarterback and now his cap hit doesn't hurt you that much because the quarterback isn't making any money. So I think it's a smart thing. Yeah. And smart thing for a good player who so far has been durable.
Yes. And I think he's also the right kind of person in that I don't think he's creating a lot of drama in the locker room, good teammate, that kind of thing. So you put all those pieces of the puzzle together. And like I said, I just think in the current NFL, if you get a big time quarterback, if you get a big time receiver, if you get a big time edge rusher, those are sort of one of the things that McShay talks about is the top average salaries of each position. And
right.
That if you look at that, that kind of determines how teams see which positions are the most valuable. And basically, it goes quarterback, edge, wide receiver, or left tackle. Quarterback, edge, left tackle, receiver are the top 4 most important positions. So if you get someone who's elite in those 4 spots, you pay them and you keep them.
Yeah.
And,
okay. Yeah. And you sort of work everybody else around it. Yeah.
Exactly. And you hope you draft well and develop well, and keep your team going that way. So I think we agree. We like that deal for Seattle. Now let's go to the Final Four, Ted.
Yeah.
Scoot yourself in the middle there a little bit more. Got to keep that pretty mug in the middle of your screen a little bit more. There you go. That's better. I think the first game tomorrow night, we're recording on Friday, so tomorrow the games begin. I think the first game between Illinois and Connecticut, while I think they're 2 very good teams, I think those teams are playing for second place.
Well, that's what everybody thinks, I mean, but
let's start there.
Good.
They're
both good teams.
Let's start there. Do you agree that Arizona and Michigan are definitively a click above?
Okay. Yes. They're 1,000%. Yeah, 1,000%. Those are the 2 best teams in the country. No question about it.
Okay. Now let's ask this. Okay. Let's start it this way. When I look at
and Michigan is missing one of their starters. Guy blew out his knee like in February. I can't remember his name.
Yes.
Yeah, Kason. Yeah. So, but still, Michigan is one of the 2 best teams in the country.
Yes. Yeah. Now, I think the Illinois-Connecticut game is a toss-up. There are things I like about both teams. Let me ask you this question. Well, let me ask it this way. Do you agree Illinois-Connecticut is a toss-up? And if so, which of those 2 teams do you think could give either Arizona or Michigan a better game in the championship game?
Well, yes, I think it's going to be a toss-up, unless one team shoots lights out or something like that, just based on what I've seen, I think any of these teams can have any combination and still have a good title game. I like Illinois a little more. I think they're harder to deal with because of their size. And it is a big team for college, particularly now. That's a big team, and they're because they're all from Europe. They're all used to playing a little rougher, and they're used to playing against fully grown people, but they're also very skilled. The big guys are skilled. They can step out and hit shots, and they can pass the ball, and that guard
Wegler.
The guy that goes to the European guard that goes to.
Oh, you're talking about the other guy. I like the freshman Wegler more, but I know that.
Yeah, no, he's good. He's good, and the one kid, the other kid, I think he's number 4.
Boswell.
I think he sort of calms them all down and sort of keeps it all together. He plays what looks to be, to me, like a very kind of almost like a slow way. And then all of a sudden, boom, there's the pass or there's the steal. I think he does a lot of good things. I think he's kind of underrated, but the guard that they have, the European Strojkovic he's terrific. Terrific player, and if he makes some shots, he's really going to be tough to cover.
Now, do we agree that the Connecticut team is not as skilled or as good as either of the 2 championship teams?
I would say that. Yeah, these 2 teams are, they have been like in the top 3 all year, right? Both of them spent time as number 1. I don't think Connecticut spent any time at number 1. If they did, it was very short-lived. Connecticut's lost some games that they shouldn't have lost.
Now, I'm not a fan of Dan Hurley. I think I just don't like the guy. But you can't deny that we always talk about how teams take on the personalities of their coach.
Right.
And that team has taken on Dan Hurley's personality. That the mental toughness to come back from 19,
right,
is impressive. they're going to play you 40 hard minutes and they're going to make you win the game.
Right. Yeah. And he's a good coach. I mean, he gets them to do what needs to be done. It's just all his antics. At some point they need to, this thing, I don't know enough about the headbutt thing where he but that's
it's just an indication
that should have been disqualifying. He should have been tossed. They should have gotten him a technical. He should have been tossed. And I think the officials don't want to do it at that game.
No.
Right?
No.
They don't want to do that. And that's a detriment to the game. I think if they would do that at some point and just
it would clean up a lot of that stuff. Yeah.
Because the NCAA, the officials, they don't want to, they don't really want to, the officials definitely don't want to be the number one
what decides the game. Yeah.
Right. And the NCAA doesn't want to have to talk about that.
No.
They only want to talk. But at some point, they should have done it a long time ago with Bobby Knight. They didn't do it. And now this guy's carrying on. And at some point you have to, if you want this to be cleaned up, and it tells me that the NCAA doesn't care. So, because they should have thrown him out or should have suspended him for this game.
You're right, Ted. Actions speak louder than words. Now,
does the NCAA fine him or it's nothing?
I haven't heard of any repercussions that came out of it.
Right. Okay. So it's a nothing sandwich. Everybody's, the media is making a big deal about it, and they should have. That was, that shouldn't happen. That shouldn't happen. If that happened in the NBA, what happens? It's gone.
Well, if
he's fined. The coach is then fined.
If it happened in a game in mid-January on a Wednesday night.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's gone. He's technical. He's suspended. Yeah.
Right.
100%. Now, Reed played great against Duke. Even though they were down by 19, the only reason they weren't down by more was because Reed was so good in the first half. And it was interesting that Duke decided to try and play him one-on-one, and he took full advantage of it. And Malik Brown for Duke has always been touted as a very good defender, but no one could stop Reed in that first half. Without him, if Reed plays anything like that, they'll be in the game. But the other thing for me, Ted, is there are games where Connecticut can't throw the ball in the ocean.
Right.
They just can't score.
Right.
Solo Ball is a physical specimen, and he looks great, and he looks like he should be able to score from wherever he takes a shot, but he doesn't. Caravan, I think, is overrated as a three-point shooter. Yes, he made one big one in that Duke game, but overall, I don't think he's as good as everybody makes him out to be. The kid Mullins has the best stroke of all. If they shoot it at all from three, I think they have to shoot it from three to stay in this game, because otherwise I like Illinois' scoring depth. Now, both teams average 5 guys averaging double figures, so both teams are good, solid teams. To me, Ted, the difference in the game is that Wagler, the freshman guard from Illinois at 6'6", is big enough to go inside. He's a good shooter. He could, down the stretch on his own. You know how sometimes you just need someone to go get a bucket?
Right.
Score tie, down one, you clear one side of the court, give him the ball at the top of the key and spread it out, and I think he can go get a bucket. I don't know that that's the guy at the end of the game that I think might be the difference maker. I'm rooting for Illinois because I've just had enough of Bob Hurley.
Dan Hurley, I'm sorry.
The
thing too is if Connecticut doesn't shoot it, because if you look at the game against Iowa that got Illinois to the Final Four, first half Iowa shoots lights out, 50% from 3-point. Second half they can't throw it in the ocean and they can't get a rebound. As Stan Van Gundy pointed out many times, Illinois had more offensive rebounds during that game than Iowa had rebounds. That's not a recipe for success unless you're throwing it in from three at 50%. So chances are, I think Connecticut's a better rebounding team than Iowa probably was, but if you're not making a lot of shots, you're not getting a lot of second chance looks against Illinois.
Good point. Good point. Good point. All right, let's go to the heavyweight match, the second game tomorrow night, Arizona, Michigan. Ted, it is fascinating to me. You know I love my stats. It's fascinating how close these teams are.
Yeah, they really are. Yeah.
Michigan is second in scoring in college basketball at 87.7. Arizona's third, 86.5. Defensively, Michigan allows 69.6 and Arizona allows 68.9. Arizona has the most team rebounds. Michigan is number 5. Now, to your point from a moment ago, Illinois is number 7. So to your point, if Connecticut doesn't shoot it, Illinois is going to get
there's no second chances.
Yeah. Even on road games, Michigan is 11-0, Arizona 9-1. So these are teams that are not going to be they're not going to have a problem playing in a big neutral court.
Well, this will probably be a little more Michigan friendly in that game because it is in Indianapolis. You would think. I mean, you would think that more Michigan people would be able to make that trip and then be able to afford the tickets.
Now, I think Lindenborg might be the best overall player in the game. Do you agree?
Yeah, I mean, he's big. He can do everything. Yeah. I mean, I've watched him a couple times early this year, and he's better because he would kind of disappear, but he's gotten a lot better. So, yeah, he probably is the best player in the game. Yeah.
All right. Now, give me sort of your 30,000-foot view of this game as to what you think decides it, who you like, why, and all that kind of good stuff.
I liked Michigan a lot early, but they had the kid that can't play. And I hadn't, because we're in the East, we don't see a lot of Arizona. And then we've seen him in the tournament, and wow, that's a big physical. They've got seniors. Everybody's been touting Arizona all year, and I understand why. If they make some shots, that's a tough team to beat, and they can push people around too.
Mm-hmm. And it's fascinating to me. For the last 10 to 15 years, everybody has said the NCAA tournament specifically is about who has the best guards.
Yeah,
and in this tournament, it's come back to big men. Every team that's left in the Final Four has really good big men.
Right. You got to rebound the ball in this game. This is, I just think Arizona has just a little more. I think they're bigger physically. They're very good on the inside, athletic, tough. And I'm not saying that Michigan's not any of those things. I think Arizona's just a little more. I think Arizona is just a little bit better.
All right, now, so based on that,
but I won't be surprised if either team wins.
Right. So obviously, you're expecting this to be a close game.
I expect it to be a close game. You hope there's no injury or big foul trouble or anything like that. But yeah, I think this is going to be a real humdinger.
So Ted, to me, in close games, it comes down to a couple things: turnovers,
yeah,
rebounding,
yeah,
and Ted, I always hate to say it because I think it's become too much a part of the game, but 3-point shooting.
Yeah, but the other thing that in close games, free throws are going to matter too. I mean, because they're unless, well, it depends too on the coaching at that point, because I think both of these guys are kind of like, let them go. We've got good players. Let's let them play. I don't think they're going to overcoach them and call every, a timeout every 3 seconds and all that kind of stuff. They could, if somebody gets behind, if somebody's down 4 and there's 52 seconds left, they're probably going to commit a foul. That's just how it goes. But for the most part, I don't envision tons and tons of timeouts unless it's like a 1-point game and they decide they want to overcoach at that point.
Coming back to the 3-point shot, Ted, I right at the last minute, I thought to look up some stats. These are some fascinating numbers. Neither team relies on the 3 as a critical part of their offense. Okay. Let's use as comparison. Alabama shot the most 3s in college basketball this season.
Right.
Okay. They shot almost 36 3s per game, Alabama.
Right.
Okay? Michigan is 34th in attempts. They're at 25 per game. Ted, Arizona is 327th in 3-point attempts at 16 per game. Now, they both shoot it at about 36.5 to 37%.
Yeah.
So in a normal game, Michigan generally makes about 9 a game, and Arizona makes about 6. So Arizona can't have any more of a spread than that.
Probably not. No. But I refer you to the game against Purdue that they just played. Purdue likes to shoot the 3, and Arizona just wore them out.
But Arizona is better than Purdue, and I think there's a bigger gap that just their overall.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I get.
I think in as close as Michigan and Arizona are, let's get that grammatically correct. That if Arizona either doesn't shoot threes enough or well enough, and only, let's say, makes 3 or 4, and Michigan gets a little hot and makes 11 or 12, that could be the difference in the game.
Right. That's a difference maker. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. But if it's seasonal averages, Arizona, like you said, doesn't rely on them, then you're probably.
And neither does Michigan. Now, one final thing, Ted, and I just thought of something else that I wanted to ask you about. I think these are 2 very good head coaches. I had completely forgotten that May from Michigan is the coach that got Florida Atlantic to the Final Four a couple of seasons ago. Yeah. So, I mean, these are clearly two elite coaches. And Ted, I understand that Tommy Lloyd is being touted as a candidate for the North Carolina job.
Yeah.
And then on my favorite sports talk show, I heard Tony Kornheiser say, if offered, Lloyd definitely has to take the North Carolina job, because there are certain jobs in college basketball, Kentucky, North Carolina, UCLA, there's Kansas. There are a handful of super elite premier positions in college basketball historically, and North Carolina is one of them.
Yes, they are. Yeah.
But is there any reason to go from Arizona to North Carolina?
Not right now. No, I can't. Tommy Lloyd was an assistant at Gonzaga, so he's kind of a West Coast guy.
But the one point that Kornheiser made that I agree with, that in the current world, and this shames me horribly to say this, it's an easier path to a top 5 team coming out of the ACC than the Big 12 because of the schedule you have to play in the 2 conferences these days.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Okay. That from that standpoint, yeah. But from as far as, North Carolina being, this kind of super elite job, if he's got it going at Arizona, why's he got to go? Yeah. Why's he got to go?
He can win. He has proven he can win a national championship at Arizona.
Right.
Now, if he had 3 or 4 seasons where he got to the Elite 8 or the Final Four and just can never quite get over the hump, and maybe North Carolina says, hey, we're going to spend twice as much on NIL or something along those lines, maybe. But just from the, when Kornheiser said that, I said, no, there's nothing that much better about the North Carolina job than the Arizona job.
History. Yeah. I mean, if you want to, but he's also looking, he's older than we are. Yeah. And he's looking at it historically and sees it, because he routinely will say Notre Dame is the best football job. Okay. I don't think it is, but okay, some people do. And I don't think that those jobs I don't think it's the same anymore.
Right.
I mean, I think if you got a good thing going and you like where you live and you're making $5 or $6 million a year and they support your NIL and you're routinely bringing in top 15 players, or you can get guys to transfer in, I don't see the reason to go back to, I would understand it now. I don't know if he has any connection to North Carolina. I don't know. Maybe he was the ball boy there or something. I don't know. Maybe he played. I don't know. But short of having a connection to North Carolina, then I don't see a reason for him to. I mean, to me, I mean, I don't know what his situation is or anything like that, but I don't see, other than they are right. The ACC path is easier now, or currently, it may
You have
change.
in the ACC, you have about 5 or 6 tough games a season now. In the Big 12, you've got about 12 to 15 tough games.
Yeah, and the travel is easier in the ACC.
Yeah, unless you have to go out to Stanford.
Well, yeah, okay, I forgot about that. I forgot that those teams are still out there. Yeah, okay.
Let me throw one other thing at you about coming back to the game, Ted, that I forgot to mention. I think what I'm hearing you say, you like Arizona a little bit. I like Arizona also. Again, the freshman Burries, I think, is the best scoring guard in this game. But the kid, Ted, I think at the end of the game, the kid that might make a big play on either side of the ball is the senior Jaden Bradley. That kid is a tenacious on the ball defender. He plays kind of an old school game, and he's a pass first point guard, but he's big enough and strong enough that he can get the ball to the basket. If it's a tie game or they're down by 1 or something, I wouldn't be shocked if he makes a big play, either the steal or a pass or going to the basket. Right. Bradley could be the difference maker. Anyway.
Yeah, and he's thick.
Yes.
Right? Because he's a senior. He's thick. So he's going to be able to, potentially body somebody off or get a rebound because he's got that kind of he's not heavy, but he's thicker. He's just bigger. Yeah. So
all right, Ted, let's go to let's go to golf and the Masters.
All right.
Let's go ahead and do Tiger first, because we're going to eventually pick our Valhalla picks, and Tiger would not have been one of my picks anyway, but he's definitely not, in that he's and to his
stepping away.
Yeah, to his credit, he's stepping away. From what I understand, oxycodone was found in the car.
Yeah, one of those kinds of things. Yeah.
Do you agree with me that this is clear, that it is very likely a case of all of the surgeries that he's had, he has developed some type of issue with pain-killing medications?
Of course. Yeah, it has to be. Yeah. I mean, he's got it in the car. He won't take the drug test at the hospital or whatever. So yeah, he knew exactly what he wasn't supposed to do when all this happened. Yeah. So.
In his diminished mental capacity, he was still smart enough not to do the urine test. I've heard some people say, I've heard 2 different things. I've heard some people say, gosh, it's great, he's going to get the help he needs. Hopefully he comes back and can compete again. And I've heard some other people say, if he wasn't who he was, he'd be in jail, and he needs to he should not be lauded just for going off and getting
right.
They took a much harsher stance.
Yeah, I mean, if he wasn't who he is, he's the guy in Seaford, Delaware. That's why I legitimately said, if I was the lawyer for this guy, I would be trying to wait until Tiger's thing. I mean, he probably won't have the ability to wait that long because of the money and everything. But I would be saying, wait a minute, you threw my guy in jail. This guy down in Florida, who's
flipped a car, famous, an actual vehicle,
right, is famous, and so. I mean, they're not exactly the same, but I'm trying. If I was his lawyer, that's what I. Yeah. I mean, I think they both need serious, rehab or whatever.
I think they're going to be at 2 very different locations for their rehab work.
Yes. Yeah. There's no doubt in my mind about that. But
Tiger's going to have some seaweed wraps and some and some nice hot. Baths and salts and all that kind of stuff to get him through his tough days.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't really have any sympathy for him at this point. This has been, he had his chance. To me, he had his chance at everybody being sympathetic when he had the first time when he was locked up for or arrested for sleeping in his car. Right?
Oh, I'd even forgotten about that. All I could remember is when he almost lost his leg, that he probably was on some type of medication then also.
And he didn't have to take a urine test, or if they did take any kind of test, they never released it, and we understand California is different with celebrities and, all that kind of stuff. Yeah. I mean, he definitely, he's lost. He can't play golf. He can't win. Even if he could try and play, let's say, everybody was trying to push him to get to the Masters. He
Ted,
could barely play in.
you don't think the TGL indoor golf league is scratching his competitive itch?
No. And the other thing is everybody got so jacked up. Oh, he's playing in the final of the TGL. Who cares?
Yeah.
He doesn't have to walk anywhere. All he has to do is walk up and swing the club. And then, it would be the equivalent, I think, of trying to play out of a cart, right?
Yeah.
Where you just get driven around. That's not the same thing as, trying to
walking 7,500 yards of Augusta up and down hills all day long.
No, it's not the same thing. So he was never, I don't think he was ever, to me, I don't think he would have reasonably had a chance to play at Augusta if the first playing he was making was at the TGA final. I mean, come on. Yeah. And the other thing is, it's time for him to either, move on to something else or go play on the senior tour, like where they allow him to play with cards. But the whole thing about Tiger this, Tiger that, you got to move on. The players that are playing now, he can't beat them now.
No.
30 years ago, he could beat them. Now he can't. So, just get over it. And he needs to stop. He needs to figure out, I think, that or understand that, I mean, I heard when this TGL thing, everybody was saying how jacked up he is. And I'm like, what's he doing?
You mean physically, like bulky?
Yeah. I mean, what's he doing? I mean, he got, what did they say, 7 or 8 back surgeries or something like that. I don't think that's probably really good to put a ton of weight and on his surgically repaired back. And I don't know. I don't know what I can't get where he is mentally. I just think he's lost and he doesn't have anybody to tell him no.
That's a good point. All right, Ted, let's talk about the actual Masters golf tournament. When we hit the first major every year, and by the way, everybody, the Players Championship is not the 5th major. So let's but it's not.
It's not.
It's an important golf tournament, but it's not a major, and stop talking about it like a major. But anyway.
Why do they want it to be a major? Is that NBC wanting it to be a major?
Maybe. I don't know.
Or is it just, we have to have a 5th for some reason?
I don't know. That doesn't make sense to me.
Okay.
But whenever we get to the Masters, I always kind of do a review of who's won golf tournaments leading up to the Masters to kind of get a sense of, is there a hot player out there that we should be thinking about as an alternative to the historical favorites that we talk about? This guy, Chris Gutterup, has won twice.
Yeah.
Jacob Bridgman has won, and he's been contending a couple of other times. Cam Young won again. Akshay Bhatia won. Then you also have older, sort of established guys, Matty Fitzpatrick, Colin Morikawa, Justin Rose, Gary Woodland, and even Scotty has won. I don't see a player that you would say, okay, he's definitively...
No. There's no favorite. Right? I mean
Rory
hasn't played.
Right. Yeah. And I think Rory, the whole back issue.
Right. He hasn't played, or played much since that happened. So, and it's kind of hard to walk into those tournaments without having played. And
Scotty has been good. Now, he and his wife, I think, just had their latest child. So I don't know how much, appropriately so, he's focusing on his family. Is he practicing and playing as much as he normally would be going up to the Masters? I don't see anybody jumping out at me and saying, this is who I love this week.
No, there really isn't. It's been, every week a different guy. Like you said, a couple of these other guys like Gotterup and Bridgman and Bhatia, some of the younger guys have been in contention more, But that kind of happens early in the year that guys come up. The one thing about the Masters is it seems like you got to go around it 2 or 3 times in the tournament before you can win.
Yeah.
It just seems like you have to hit some shots that you're uncomfortable with, or understand how the greens, are super fast, and the crowd noise, especially on the back nine on Sunday, So it's hard to get excited about Goddard or a guy like him with a chance to win because he just hasn't been there. He hasn't been there.
Yeah.
He knows how to win, but he hasn't won this yet. So at this level. So it's you're right. It's hard to think that there's an outstanding favorite, in part because of Rory's back injuries or back issues now.
And then the other name that was right there at the end last year that I think has played pretty well over on Live is Bryson. And of course, in theory, his game with that long ball is suited and hitting it so high. In theory, I'm not crazy about his on the green and around the green game enough to pick him. But anyway, here we go, Ted. As always, it's been a while since the NFL season, so Ted's getting a little jittery. He needs a little bit of this. Here we go.
There we go.
There we go.
Yep.
All right. Let's do. What do you do? You want to do Final Four picks first? Or you want to do Masters picks first, Ted?
Dealer's choice. You're in charge, so whatever you want.
Final Four. Who do you like Illinois, Connecticut, Ted?
I think it's going to be Illinois.
Yep. Me too. All right. Arizona, Michigan.
I think Arizona is just a little bit better.
Me too. That means the final game is Michigan, Connecticut, Ted.
Yeah. Well, like I said, it could be any combination of these four teams, depending on what happens on a given night with any of them. I think if Michigan and Arizona were separated, then I would almost be 1,000% that it would be Michigan and Arizona in the final. But
if I was going to rank them, I think we both like Arizona first, Michigan second. I like Illinois third and Connecticut fourth.
Yeah, right.
But like I say, as much as I'm not a fan of Hurley, once he gets here, he can beat anybody.
No, and they have the players. They're good enough,
Right.
And particularly if somebody. I mean, Illinois was early in the year highly ranked. They lost some games they shouldn't have lost, got dropped down to like 12th or something in the rank, and now they're playing better. So, who knows? They might stink the place out.
If this were an NBA best of 7, I would say I would pick the Illinois in 6.
Yeah, right.
And Arizona, Michigan, I'd probably pick that in 6 or 7 also.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Okay, let's go to the Masters, Ted. And if I remember correctly, you took the season last year. So who you get first pick?
Oh, well, he hasn't played particularly well lately, but I think I'm just going to take Scheffler because he has won it.
You have to. Okay.
But he hasn't played well lately, and he hasn't played recently, so that bothers me a little bit.
Yeah, you have to take him number 1, Ted, because at the end of the day, no matter even if he doesn't win, even if he shoots 73 on the first day and the leader is 67, by Sunday he's going to be within 4 or 5 of the lead.
Yeah, that's true.
He's going to be somewhere in the top 10 to 12 almost certainly. Ted, he played well. I'm going to return to him. The heritage, it will happen. All hail Ludwig.
Well, he's playing reasonably well.
He's played there. He has the game for it. He has the mentality. I like guys who kind of don't get too overplussed about the whole situation. So I like Ludwig.
Yeah. Well, I'll take Bryson because there's a very good chance he could overpower the course at any place he plays.
Okay. Ted, I'm going to surprise you with my number 2.
Okay.
His game is not necessarily suited to in that he's not a long ball hitter, but I like his feistiness. I like the fact that he's won. I like his sort of mental toughness. Give me Matty Fitzpatrick, Ted.
Okay. All
right. Who's your number 3?
In the same vein, I'm just taking somebody a little. I'm going to take Justin Rose just because he's won. He's the same thing. If things get tight down the stretch and he's in it, he could surprise.
Ted, I have 2 other names written down here. And I love the way Jacob Bridgman has been playing this year.
Yeah.
But to your point from a little while ago, if you haven't been in contention in the weekend in the Masters, I think it's I think that's a
And
tough road.
has he even been to the Masters?
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah.
So Ted, this is another guy that recently won. He hits it a long way. I like his personality. I love what he did last year in the Ryder Cup. I'll take Cam Young, Ted.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. He's another guy that doesn't get too wound up about, or doesn't seem to get too wound up about.
And he hits it. He hits a nice long high drive. He can get that ball down the fairway on those par fives.
It's putting with him.
It's
It's
not
just
great
putting.
putter. Not great putter.
But it's the same with Scheffler.
Yeah.
It's the same. My picks are going to be the same. If they're putting and hitting they got to hit the fairway. They got to stick it on the green and not bounce it off of it. And then they got to make the pitch.
Ted, you know what I didn't even think to look at, and I guess it might not even be that accurate that far out. You just said something about Augusta. Are we going to have, leading up to it, are we going to have a bunch of 75 to 80 degree days with a lot of wind, and that course gets baked out so that balls are flying over the green if you don't hit it in the right spot? And making
I always
it so
like that.
You hear the guy say he has, it's a 20-foot putt, and he says he has to hit this putt 6 inches.
Right. Yeah.
If you get on the wrong side of the hole there. So
I'm not a big fan of some of the greens at Augusta when somebody hits a reasonably good putt and they're and then it'll roll into the water. I don't think that's right.
Yeah.
But I do find it mildly amusing because it couldn't happen to me, is when they hit a long like iron shot or a hybrid in one of the, I think it's 15, and it hits the green and it kangaroos off it and ends up in that pond behind it
off the 16th
tee. Yeah. I was like, that guy just smoked it 240, hit it a mile in the air and it bounced off. Nice.
Okay, Ted, here's a question for you. You're the first person that walks into Augusta on Sunday as a fan. Okay.
Yeah.
So you get your choice of wherever you want to sit.
Okay.
Are you going to take the spot right next between the 11th green and the 12th tee? That little corner right there, so you can see both. Yeah. Or are you going to take the spot where you can see the 16th tee and the 15th green?
Wow. Yeah, I could go with either one. I think more happens at 12. So I think I would go there.
Yeah, I think so. Just to sit and see. Yeah, I think that would be great. So
because the thing about 16 is it's generally more happens on the green where the flag and the ball starts rolling around. Whereas at 12, they'll hit shots and they might bounce into the azaleas or roll back into the pond. So or the creek.
Yeah. The infamous Freddie shot on 12 on Sunday when the ball rolled and stopped like 6 inches from the pond.
There's no way, there's no way that should have happened.
I can't remember how fast he ran from the tee to hit that second shot.
Yeah, that might have hurt his back. Yeah. I mean, he had to be, I'm going first.
I don't care where anybody else is.
Wherever his caddy is, just give me a wedge. I don't care anything. I'll hit it into the bushes. I'm just, get
it out of this spot.
Yeah.
All right, let's go ahead and wrap it up there for the week. Thank you to our fans for listening. Please continue to check us out on all of our social media sites. Please follow us here on millions.co, but on social media, we have a YouTube channel. We're also on Instagram, X, and Facebook. You can also email us at grumpybrothersports@gmail.com. And with that, we'll say good night, and we promise to do better next time.